All right, everybody. So today we're going to do system of equations with three variables, part two, right? So this is part two. So we're going to emphasize here the part two part, right? And I'm going to do it in purple, and there's a reason for that, but you'll see when I get to the step that I'm referring to. All right. First thing we're going to do is just like the part one, we're going to find x, y, and we're going to find z, right? And the way we're going to do that is we're going to cancel, just like the other one, variables one at a time, right? We're going to cancel variables one at a time. So again, just like the prior lesson, part one, we have three equations, right? Equation one, equation two, equation three. Now I'm going to differentiate them with color. So the first equation here I'm going to do in yellow. That's my yellow equation. My second equation I'm going to do in blue. And my third equation I'm going to do in green, right? So step one says pick two equations. So again, remember, I'm trying to cancel out variables, right? So I'm going to pick two equations that the variables cancel. So I look at my x's, 4x, 1x, 2x, 9y, 5y, 5y. These are both positive, 5y, right? But this is a 9y. But look at my z's, positive 2z, negative 2z, negative 2z. Remember, a positive and a negative cancel each other out. So what I'm looking for is same number and same variable, same number and same letter, right? And this is perfect. Look, positive 2z, negative 2z. So yellow and blue work out for me. So I'm going to bring over here where it says pick two equations. I'm going to bring over yellow, and I'm going to bring over blue. So I literally just copy yellow. Yellow says 4x plus 9y plus 2z is equal to 3. So I copied yellow. Now I'm going to copy blue. Now this is x, but I'm going to write 1x here so I'm not confused. Plus 5y minus 2z is equal to negative 4. Now I'm going to combine these two equations. So positive 2z and negative 2z cancel out. Perfect. That's what I wanted, right? I'm canceling variables one at a time. So I cancel z first. So let's do the x's here. 4x and 1x is 5x. 9y plus 5y is positive 14y is equal to a positive 3 and a negative 4. They are different signs, so I have to subtract 4 minus 3 is 1. And a negative because 4 is negative and it's bigger, right? So this is my first circled equation, right? Just like we did in part one. Nothing's changed so far, okay? Now, we did this step. Let's go to the right. Pick another two equations. So I'm canceling z's here, so I want to cancel z. So again, let's remind ourselves that opposites cancel, positive 2, negative 2, right? So blue and green would not work because look, negative 2z and negative 2z don't cancel out. But yellow and green do cancel out though. So I'm going to do yellow here, and I'm going to do green here. So I'm going to copy over the yellow, 4x plus 9y plus 2z is equal to 3. And then green, I'm going to copy 2x plus 5y minus 2z is equal to negative 7. So again, I draw my line here and I'm know that my z's, positive 2z and negative 2z, cancel each other out. So I'm left with a positive 4x and a positive 2x is 6x. A positive 9y and a positive 5y is positive 14y is equal to a positive 3 and a negative 7 are not the same sign, so I have to subtract. 7 minus 3 is 4, and 7 is bigger and it's a negative, so the answer is negative as well. So there's my second circled equation, right? So next step, right? I did this step, I did this step, now I go down here. Both circled equations. So I have both circled equations there. Look at this. That circled, that circled. So I'm going to write them down here. So black and black here. So I'm going to write down 5x plus 14y is equal to negative 1. That's my first circled equation. This is my second circled equation. 6x plus 14y is equal to negative 4, right? So I'm going to cancel here. So I look at my x's here, 5x and 6x, they don't match. 14y, positive 14y and positive 14y, they don't match. That's a problem here, see? But what if I turn one of these 14y's into a negative 14y? Right? That would work. Then one of them would be negative 14y. And this is where I'm going to do the purple here. This is the part 2. This is the part that's different from part 1. Right here. I have to multiply one of the equations by a negative. So I'm going to multiply the top equation by negative 1. So then that's going to give me negative 1 changes everything inside the parentheses to the opposite, right? Negative 1 times 5x is negative 5x. Negative 1 times 14y is negative 14y. Equals negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. This second equation here stays the same. I'm just going to bring it over just like that. Is equal to negative 4. Now I can cancel. Look at that. Negative 14y and positive 14y, look what they do. They canceled out. Perfect. A negative 5x and a positive 6x are not the same sign, so I have to subtract. 6 minus 5 is 1x. Positive because 6 is positive and 6 is bigger is equal to a positive 1 and a negative 4 are not the same sign, so I have to subtract. 4 minus 1 is 3, and it's a negative. The 3 is negative because 4 is bigger and 4 is negative. So my goal here is to solve for x. So this is 1 times x, so I cross it out and I divide on this side. Negative 3 divided by 1. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. 3 divided by 1 is 3. And there we go. Look at that. I have my first x, my first variable. Remember, I'm looking for x, I'm looking for y, I'm looking for z. I have my x. Perfect. So I'm done with this step. Then I go to the right, okay? And it says plug in blank. Well, this blank is right here, look. I have my x. Plug in x and solve. So I have x, so I'm going to put in x right here. Now, this should look familiar because this is what we did with systems of equations with 2 variables. I pick which one of these 2 is more simple. I think the bottom one is more simple. So I'm going to draw an arrow here, and I'm going to rewrite the bottom one here. 6x plus 14y, yes, is equal to negative 4. Look at that. But now I'm going to plug in x, right? What is my x? X is negative 3. So I'm going to put parentheses negative 3 where the x is. Plus 14y is equal to negative 4. So my goal here is to solve for y, right? Get y by itself. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. Well, since I want my y's on this side of my line of separation, I'm going to move this negative 18y over here. And when he comes over, when this negative 18 comes over, it becomes a positive 18. So a negative 4 and a positive 18 are not the same sign, so I have to subtract. 18 minus 4 is 14. And it's a positive because 18 is bigger. You see this 14y here? I still have this guy right here. So I want to cancel out 14, which means 14 times y. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. 14 divided by 14 is positive 1. Look at that. I have my x. I have my y. X, y. What do I need? What's left? Z, right? So I go to my final step here. Plug in blank and blank. Well, here I put in plug in x because x is the only one that I knew. But what do I also know now? I know x and y. So x and y. In simple color equation and solve. Simple color equation. That's where I look back over here and I look at my colors. Green, blue, and yellow. Which one is the most simple of those three? I personally think blue is the most simple. So I'm going to plug in blue. So what does blue say? X or 1x plus 5y minus 2z is equal to negative 4. So I plug in x and y. So what's my x? 1 parentheses negative 3 plus 5. What is y? Y is 1 parentheses 1 minus 2z is equal to negative 4. So my goal, all the way in the bottom down here, is to solve for z. Get z by itself. Let me move it up a little bit so you guys can see it. My goal is to get z by itself, right? Because z is the only thing left. Look, x and y are gone because I already know what x and y are. So let's multiply here. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. 5 times 1 is positive 5. Well, let's keep going with these two. Negative 3 and 5 are not the same signs. So 5 minus 3 is 2. And it's a positive 2 because 5 is bigger. Now remember, what do I want alone on this side? I want my z on this side and nothing else, no other number. So I need to move this 2 over to this side and make it a negative 2. Right? Negative 4 and negative 2 are the same sign, so I have to add them. 4 plus 2 is 6. And it's going to be a negative 6 because 4 is negative and 4 is bigger. Now you see this negative 2z here? I just bring this guy down, just like that. Now remember, negative 2z means negative 2 times z. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I cross out negative 2 where I'm multiplying and I divide by negative 2 on the other side of the line of separation. Negative divided by negative is a positive. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And that's my z. So my final solution here, I wanted an x, comma y, comma z. So what's my x? X is negative 3, comma y is 1, comma z is 3. And this is my final solution. So again, long, semi-complicated, right? But I promise that if you do the steps with me, and you remember that in part 2, there's an extra step right here in this step here. That's why I highlighted in purple, where I have to multiply one of the equations by 1. And that's what you will see in these kinds of problems for this assignment, is on this step right here, you're going to have to multiply one of the equations by -1 to make one of the variables negative, right? Now on this one, z's canceled. In your problems, maybe y's cancel, maybe x's cancel. We never know, all right?